We're back. Welcome back, everyone, to the 12th Horseshoe podcast right here on Surge Sports alongside Jack Rizal, Elijah Weintraub. Thanks for joining us here. Before I say hello to Jack, I just want to bring up and welcome everyone to our 1 year special. As on Wednesday, Friday the 17th was our 1 year anniversary of the 12th Horseshoe podcast. We started the show on Wednesday, May 17, 2023, and it's officially been 1 year. And it's our first episode since the draft. We cannot thank you all for joining us. Jack, a lot has happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened. We haven't really done many shows. The only show we've really done since the end of March was our draft party show, which was already almost 3 weeks ago, which feels crazy to say. But yeah, it's been a very quiet time the offseason. We haven't really had much content to put out there to you guys. And if it weren't for that draft show, we really would have been struggling to, find something. So we thought we'd go quality over quantity for this month and just put out one show with all of our, superpowers rather than just a few small shows where we didn't really have much to talk about.
Absolutely. So we'll be live today to break down the NFC schedule, their primetime games, along with the international schedule. And on Thursday, we'll break down the AFC schedule and their primetime games as well. But before we get into that, let's begin with a couple of news stories that happened within the past 2 weeks that we'll bring up real quick. We'll start off with this. The new streaming sports service combining Fox, TNT, Warner Brothers, and ESPN Disney will be called Venue Sports and will debut this fall. Prices are to be varied. Jason Kelsey is an official member of Monday Night Countdown on ESPN. RG3 is out. Greg Olsen expected to be an analyst alongside Joe Davis, demoted to the B team thanks to Tom Brady, who will be taking over Greg Olsen's spot with Kevin Burkhardt. Netflix and Apple TV Plus and Peacock will be offering a bundle through Comcast at a reduced price. The Hall of Fame game is expected to move from NBC to ABC and ESPN. Harrison Butker made a commencement speech at a Catholic college. There was a lot of political stuff about it. To hear the full story about that, check out Sports Mano Mano. That's always live Saturday. We don't want to give too much details here. We don't want to give our political side of it in here, but just a lot happened, and we give our support to Harrison Butker. The Giants debut Montreal Canadian-style throwback jerseys. I think that's the worst thing that ever came out since the creation of broccoli.
Thank you for all those updates, Eli.
We're not done yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Jaguars reveal plans for their new stadium. They'll be costing $1.4 billion. Netflix gets 2 Christmas Day games this year for $150 million, $75 each. The benefit of it, you don't have to switch channels to go find ABC for the Christmas Day game. So the NFL thought smart. It will cost an average viewer $850 with YouTube TV, ESPN Plus, and Peacock, along with Prime Video. Hard Knocks offseason will be a feature with the Giants on HBO. Monday Night Football will not air every day on ABC. Instead, it will be on ESPN. Normal programming has returned to ABC. The Lions signed QB Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 million deal. Antonio Winfield Jr. becomes the highest paid defensive back in NFL earnings, a 4-year, $84 million. And the Bills signed former Chiefs wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Jack.
Yep. You did forget one thing over at CBS.
Yes, I forgot that.
Yep. Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms are out on the NFL Today show on CBS, which starts an hour before kickoff every Sunday. The new NFL Today crew on CBS is James Brown, Nate Burleson, Coach Cowher, Matt Ryan, and J.J. Watt. That is the new crew for the NFL Today.
J.J. Watt.
Phil Simms, Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason, after being with, well, of course, Phil Simms was Jim Nance's former partner on CBS, and Boomer Esiason's been there a long time as well, but they are both out, and they will be going to different endeavors. So good luck to them, but bit of a change over the NFL Today. A lot different programming now for CBS.
Absolutely. And we'll start off with the NFL schedule release by talking about the international games first.
Wait, Eli. Before we start before we start with the international games, let me just mention a few brief points about the formatting of the NFL schedule this season. There are 272 games, 60 over 17 weeks. This is the 4th year now where each team will play 17 games in a season. They will play 6 games against their own division. They will play another team in their same conference. So, for example, the AFC South teams play the AFC East team. So, for example, the Colts play the Dolphins, Bills, Jets, and Patriots. Each team also plays one division in the other conference. So, for example, the AFC South plays the NFC North next year. And then there's also 2 games against teams in the other divisions of the same conference in terms of corresponding positions. So, for example, first place in the AFC South will play first place in the AFC North. That's how that works. Plus the extra game that was added in 2021, 1 game against the team in the other conference in terms of placing. So this year, first place in the AFC West will play first place in the NFC South. That is a 17-game formatting. The NFC has the extra home game this year, which means that they will host all the international games with the exception of 1. Take it away, Eli.
Let's get to the international games, and we head to Sao Paulo, Brazil, as the Green Bay Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles on Friday, September 6th at Corinthians Arena. That game is exclusively on Peacock, and that game will air at 8:15 p.m. The next 3 games are in London. We have the Jets taking on the Vikings on Sunday, October 6th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Jaguars versus Bears at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Sunday, October 20th, Patriots versus the Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. And the final game, which is at Munich, Germany, will be the Giants hosting at the Carolina Panthers in Germany. How do you say the 2 worst teams to Germany? Allianz Arena. For Germany. By the way, all the games will be on NFL Network at 9:30 a.m. Jack, looking at this list here, which game do you look forward to the most in terms of the international games, and which game do you not look forward to seeing that is not the Giants and Panthers?
Oh, okay. Well, first off, let me say that I think this is a very interesting schedule. First off, the Packers and the Eagles, that will be the first ever NFL game played in the Southern Hemisphere. So the NFL really expanding globally. You got 2 really good teams playing down there as well. And then you have 2 games at Tottenham. That's pretty much how it's been every year. I think they need to fix the turf. I remember that Bills-Jaguars game last year, week 5, how many injuries there were.
It was tough. It was really rough to watch.
Yep, the Jets and the Vikings, this is funny because both the Jets and the Vikings have both played in London recently. The Jets played in London 3 years ago, the Vikings 2 years ago. The Vikings are the home team, though, in this game. Aaron Rodgers versus Sam Darnold. It could be a Sam Darnold Jets revenge game. We'll just have to see over in Tottenham. Jaguars. Okay, so this is the second straight year, Eli, that the Jaguars will play back-to-back weeks in London. Yep, back-to-back weeks. Last year, the first game was home. The second game was away. Opposite this year. First game is away against the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. The second game is home, and the Jags' home game will be at Wembley Stadium because they are contracted to play there every single year. And they will be hosting the New England Patriots, who played in Germany last year. So you don't see that every day, a team getting international games in back-to-back years.
Jacksonville.
But they're contracted.
They're the exception, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The Patriots aren't contracted to do that, so I was a little surprised by that. And then Giants-Panthers is Giants-Panthers. But in terms of the game I'm most looking forward to, everyone would probably say Eagles-Packers. I am very much looking forward to that. I think it's interesting that they put an international game in week 1 of all weeks, but I mean, to be fair, because it's Brazil, yeah, exactly. When it's winter here, it's summer down there, so you got to play it in September when the weather is still nice. Out of these 5 games, though, I actually think I'm most looking forward to the week 6 matchup between the Bears and the Jaguars in London. Just because of you have 2 number 1 overall picks going at it against each other. Trevor Lawrence, this could be a make or break year for him. He has not gotten a contract extension yet. He's probably going to need to prove himself this year if he wants to get one. Meanwhile, for the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, they'll be in the middle of the season by this point, so we'll see how they look before then. But this could be a really big game. Might not be a game with playoff implications, but it's going to be a fun game with 2 young offenses, a lot of explosiveness. This could be a very high-scoring game over in London, but the Jaguars just always play so well in London. They won both games in London last year. As for the game I'm looking forward to the least, I'm probably going to go with Jaguars-Patriots the week after because, I mean, no offense to the Patriots, but let's be honest. Number 1, the Patriots are not going to be good this year. And number 2, the Jags always win in London. So this could be a blowout. This could be like a 30 or 40 point win. But one point to make, Eli, is that the Jaguars, who their last 2 years when they've played at Wembley Stadium, the game has been on ESPN Plus. However, this year it is not on ESPN Plus. It's on NFL Network. There is another game that is on ESPN Plus, a Monday Night Football game. We'll talk about that on Thursday when we talk about the AFC, when we talk about more so about like the networking and everything. But that's the international list. I like it. I think these are some pretty decent games. I think I take last year's slate a little bit more, but the Brazil game is really good. I think that really elevates this international slate up a little bit.
Are you done yet?
Yes. Wow.
A joke. I had to throw jokes here. Well, my favorite game that I think I'm looking forward to the most. I'm not a fan of the Packers Eagles because I don't like the matchup that early on in week 1. I don't think we're going to see the level of competition that we want to see. I think to me, the Jets Vikings stands out the best. You can't choose the Patriots. Really? You can't choose the Giants. The Bears are the Bears. But if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, you still have this good Jets team that could be good. And Minnesota, which is a brand new team, this could be a good game. Now, I don't like this international slate at all. I think you could have put better matchups there. But unfortunately, that's the group that we were chosen with. But out of all of them, I'd say Jets Vikings is the one I think I'm looking forward to the most.
I like that, Eli. Consider the fact about how Aaron Rodgers has a very documented history with the Minnesota Vikings. Playing with the Packers all those years, we know their rivalry. But I agree. I like that matchup too. But Jaguars Bears, I feel like could just be like a really fun game between two young quarterbacks and two high-powered offenses.
All right, let's take a look at the bye weeks, where the bye weeks will stand. It will be at weeks 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 14. The most will be in week 14, and that includes your Indianapolis Colts, who will have a bye. But we'll talk more about each individual bye.
I believe week 12 and week 14 are tied. I think there's 6 bye weeks for both teams, or for both weeks of 6. Yes, I think week 12 is in there too. Okay.
That is correct. We're going to move along now to every NFC home game, primetime game. Get that right? Every home NFC primetime game.
Every interconference primetime game that we're going to talk about. So we've picked out a few AFC versus NFC matchups with the NFC hosting because this is the NFC show. Right. On Thursday, we'll do some NFC versus AFC with the AFC as the home team. But we have 6 games here that we're going to talk about.
Go for it, Jack.
Let's start off right in week 1, Eli. Right in week 1, we have a really good matchup on Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers makes his return home.
I hate it.
Bay Area.
I absolutely hate it.
On the San Francisco 49ers.
Absolutely hate it.
This is against the player who tore Aaron Rodgers' Achilles last year, Leonard Floyd, is now on the San Francisco 49ers. This is the second straight year the Jets are opening up on Monday Night Football, this time 3,000 miles away in Santa Clara. But you have Rodgers.
I absolutely hate it.
Hang on, Eli. Hang on. Against the defending NFC champions. Homecoming. Will his Achilles actually hold up this time?
No.
We'll have to see. This is also Jason Kelsey's debut in the pregame show. But Eli, I mean, I know you're not a fan of it, but like this could still be an interesting game.
It could be an interesting matchup, but
especially
it's week 1. It's week 1 Monday Night Football. We saw what happened with Aaron Rodgers on week 1 last year. 4 plays in, his Achilles goes. His other Achilles is not out yet, Jack. What happens if the other one goes?
Are they really
rude?
Are they really doing this on purpose to like try to create some
number 1.
crazy
and
story?
Number 2, even if his Achilles doesn't go for whatever reason, hopefully not, I pray not. But my point is, what happens when you see this new Jets team this is a brand new Jets team. This is a rookie team, I'm going to say. The reason why? New quarterback, new playing style. Last year was all Zach Wilson. He's out of the question. Now you have Aaron Rodgers in here. How is this going to factor in? And out of all the teams, San Francisco, who is too dominant against this New York Jets team, who is, I believe, will not hold up to the power that San Francisco is bringing to the table. And this is coming from a Seahawks fan who you're supposed to root against the 49ers. But I'm just saying the truth, though.
That Jets defense, though, looking pretty good. That they win the game. If they win this game.
Is it the San Francisco 49ers defense? Did they experience a playoff and Super Bowl run like the San Francisco 49ers have? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Did you put up that record? I don't care if Zach Wilson.
Hang on, Eli. Hang on. The Jets picked off Josh Allen 4 times last year to open the season.
That was Josh Allen.
This is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions against the Ravens defense last year on Christmas
Does not
Day.
matter, Jack.
I'm telling you, Eli, anything can happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but I don't think we should overlook the Jets in this game strictly because of their defense. I mean, we can talk about Aaron Rodgers all day, but I really like the Jets defense in this matchup against Brock Purdy, who, while he's usually pretty good with not turning over the football, if you play a defense like this who can get really good defensive pressure, that changes the whole game, Eli. But I know you're not a fan of this game, but I think this game could be better than we're making it out to be.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
The next game that Jack has chosen was the Chiefs and Falcons. I also hate it. Why do I hate it?
I mean,
Well,
listen,
number
Eli.
one, the Falcons are the Falcons. And then you have the Chiefs. I mean, that's an easy blowout.
Okay, well, let me interrupt you there real quick. And let me say, Eli, the number one, I looked at the whole schedule. There were not too many good AFC versus NFC matchups. So I really had to be very selective when I chose here. But let me tell you,
that was not selective, Jack.
What? This is better than pretty much every other game. Let me tell you why I chose 49ers
this game. Seahawks.
This is AFC versus NFC, Eli, not NFC versus NFC. 49ers Seahawks is NFC versus
my
NFC.
apologies, Jack. I didn't read the program.
It's okay. Chiefs at Falcons. Why did I choose this game? Well, I chose this game mainly because of the decision making, because I think it's very interesting that the NFL is giving the Falcons 3 primetime games in the first 5 weeks, one of them against the defending Super Bowl champions. I guess they're very confident in Kirk Cousins and his ability to take the Falcons to the playoffs. I mean, to be fair, Eli, they won 7 games last year with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke as their starting quarterbacks. And we very much well know that Kirk Cousins is better than both of them combined, honestly.
Is he really, though?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. If you tell that to Falcons fans, Eli, they will be over at your house in like 5 seconds too. I don't even know. Well, let me just say that this game is in Atlanta. Expect the Chiefs fans to absolutely take over that stadium. Now we can move on.
Chiefs at the 49ers. It's a 4:25 Fox game.
Do you like this game, Eli? Because you complained about my first 2 selections. Do you actually like this game?
I do. I have no complaints about it.
Finally,
it's a Super Bowl rematch at San Francisco. San Francisco takes the W.
Well,
if they're healthy.
I mean, yeah, this game is we're 111 days away from the first football Sunday. So if my math is correct, we would still be over 150 days away from this game. But
whatever, Jack,
in the Bay Area in the beginning of October, it's usually beautiful out there. So the weather should be nice. It should be It should be a good game. It'll be a game that Tom Brady is doing. So it should be a pretty interesting game. Tom Brady doing a game against the team he grew up rooting for, San Francisco 49ers.
The Texans at the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I love it. I love it.
I like this game too.
The Texans are good. If everybody stays healthy, it's a great game. If the Cowboys be the Cowboys, they could officially be eliminated from playoff contention already.
Well, Eli, let me just say that we can make fun of the Cowboys all you want, but in terms of regular season, not the playoffs, forget the playoffs. Regular
but they're officially eliminated though.
The Cowboys, yeah, exactly. But this is a regular season game. The Cowboys did not lose at home once last season until the playoffs. But this should be a great. I picked this game because it's the Battle of Texas. This is a big stretch for the Texans. This is a stretch in which they have 3 straight primetime
Battle
games.
of Texas.
They play a Thursday night against the Jets 2 weeks before. They play a Sunday night against the Detroit Lions the week before, and then they're playing a Monday nighter against Dallas here. I think this could be a really big game just because it's the Battle of Texas, and both teams should be in the playoff hunt by then. So I'm really excited for this game, and I just think it could be a really good game. So that's why I chose it.
Dolphins at Packers, Thanksgiving Thursday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. I'm not a fan of Jack's pick. Why? Listen, this is my reason why, Jack. You're gonna have time to speak. You have plenty of time. Here's my thoughts on this game real quick. Number one, the Packers. There's too much hype about them. I don't see what the joy is in it. And it's the Dolphins. The Dolphins are good. I don't see it being the marquee closer to Thanksgiving. Not saying last year's battle with San Francisco and Seattle was any better, but I do think that it's not exactly the greatest pick for a Thanksgiving game to close out.
Well, respectfully,
I
have to disagree because
I know you do.
The Dolphins still have one of the best offenses in the NFL with Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they're really good. And they're really good running back duo of Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. The Packers, Jordan Love could be an MVP candidate this season. I know you think these teams are overhyped, Eli, but the Packers were just a few plays away from going to the NFC Championship game last year over the San Francisco 49ers, who ended up going to the Super Bowl.
San Francisco was going to win no matter what.
I don't know about that. Meanwhile, the Dolphins. No, Eli, let me finish. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, they play very well in the regular season. Forget the playoffs again. They play very well in the regular season. I'm picked this game, though, because this is going to be a real test for the Dolphins. Are they going to be able to actually win a game in the cold for once, or are the Packers going to get an easy win here at home on Thanksgiving primetime?
Absolutely.
I really should have picked this game, though, because we're going to talk about it on Thursday with the Thanksgiving game. So, really, I didn't mean to pick it.
Bills at the Lions.
This is a good game. Yeah.
That's a fantastic pick.
Thank you.
You cannot have asked for a better pick.
This is my favorite game that I picked out of this. This is, in my opinion, the best AFC at NFC game in the regular season. This is a Week 15 game, part of a doubleheader for CBS and Fox. CBS and Fox both have a doubleheader in Week 15 as well as Week 18. CBS does not have a doubleheader in Week 1 this year like they have had in past years. But Buffalo at Detroit, I mean, this would be an alternate universe, Eli. If we saw this matchup in the Super Bowl, you have the Bills, one of the best teams in the AFC, versus the Lions, one of the best teams in the NFC. This game could have huge implications. The Lions and the Packers, in my opinion, are going to be battling all season for the NFC North Division title. And you've got Buffalo with the Miami, maybe even the Jets battling for the AFC East Division title. This could be a very, very good game. It's in December, but it's indoors, so I don't know how people are going to feel about that, but I like this matchup. Buffalo at Detroit. We saw it on Thanksgiving 2 years ago. It was an awesome game. The Lions are a much improved team from back then. So that is a game I really like, and I'm really excited to see that game.
All right. Well, we're going to go to the marquee NFC matches, which I'm going to cut down the list to top 3.
Okay, that's fine.
So
we'll just like list other ones, and then we'll describe 3, and then we'll just like list the other 7.
The other 7 we'll talk about during the regular games when we go through it, because we're going to each go individually to each team. But my top 3 from the list that Jack has chosen, I'm going to go with number 1, Lions 49ers. Yeah, can't ask for a better matchup than that.
Week 17, Monday Night Football. Sign me up.
That's a winner. And it's going to have a lot of playoff implications on the line. Jack, what are your thoughts on that?
That's probably one I would have chosen first as well. Monday Night Football, Week 17. This is the second year the Lions are playing on ESPN in Week 17. Last year they played on the Saturday against the Cowboys because Monday was New Year's Day, and that's when the New Year's Six bowl games happened for college football. But rematch of the NFC Championship game last year, Week 17. This game could determine the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm all for it. I absolutely love that matchup at the end of the season.
The next pick, Lions at the Cowboys. Why? Well, number 1, as Jack put in his notes, refs want the refs. We'll just leave it at that. The refs. Do they want revenge of the Lions? I think it's the best game that you chose.
Lions and Cowboys. Yeah, exactly. I chose that game mainly because of how great the game was last year, but also the refs at the end. The Lions want revenge. The Lions have always been screwed by the refs. It feels like their whole history they've been screwed by the refs. But yeah, really excited for this game. Good matchup right in the middle of October on Fox. So this will be another game that Tom Brady is doing.
This game that could be important that I'll choose. Buccaneers at the Cowboys. Why did I choose that over the other list that Jack has listed on his document here? Number 1, because this is a Week 16 game. It's going to have a lot of playoff implications on the line with 3 weeks left in the season, with 17 and 2 with that being the third game left in the season. Could this be the game for the Baker Mayfield from the Buccaneers? And remember, it's in Dallas. So will that give Dallas the advantage? So that's my pick for that one.
I like that game a lot. I think it's a game for Baker to really prove himself. This again, big playoff implications. It's Dallas. It's in December. It's never easy. It's not easy to go to Dallas and win in the regular season, but especially in December. I probably would have chosen the same. But here are the other ones that I'm just gonna list them, Eli. Just like list them. It'll take like 20 seconds. Rams Lions Week 1 Sunday Night Football. Another Matthew Stafford return to Detroit playoff rematch from last year. The Falcons at the Eagles in Week 2 on Monday Night Football. Kirk Cousins for the 3rd straight year travels to Philadelphia in Week 2 on primetime. How funny. Seahawks at the Lions, Week 4, part of a doubleheader on Monday Night Football.
Yes,
rematch of what was an awesome game last year. Seattle won it in overtime. That was an awesome game to watch. Eli should enjoy that. I chose Bears at Commanders in Week 8 on 1 o'clock on CBS only because
6-3 final.
Only because it is the number 1 overall pick versus the number 2 overall pick. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, who will definitely
9-3 final.
Okay, well, I can still choose it if I want to.
Whatever, Jack. Moving along.
Wait, no, I'm not done yet. Cowboys, 49ers, play a Sunday night or Week 8 in San Francisco, same week as Bears Commanders. 49ers travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers in Week 12. That's an afternoon game on Fox. Packers at Seahawks, Week 15, Sunday Night Football. Never easy to go to Lumen Field in December.
No,
That place is always rocking. And then that's it. Those are my honorable mentions for the best NFC primetime games. Let's get to the individual teams, the best part of the show, I think.
All righty, we're going to go individually. I will start off with the NFCs and the New York Giants, who have 3 primetime games this year, plus a Thanksgiving game in Dallas and the international game in Germany. There is a lot to look forward to here. Should we let's go down the list? Should we go down the list or give our top pick here? What do you want to do?
No. We're not going to mention every game. We're not going to mention every game on the schedule.
So let's go with the top 2 picks.
Well,
that's not prime time, and our best prime time.
No, we can do primetime games. We're allowed to do primetime games.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, just top 1 pick. Just the game we're most looking forward to. We don't need 2. Just
game that we're most looking forward to, and most the game we're most looking forward to that's in primetime. Primetime and non-primetime. Go, Jack.
Well, first off, Eli, let me just say, I'm just going to briefly describe the team when I'm looking over the schedule, what I see in their schedule. So I see for the Giants, they have a home opener against Minnesota on Sunday. They have 2 tough road games in their final 3 weeks. Of course, they have the Germany game, so they have 3 primetime games plus the Thanksgiving plus the international game. As to the game I'm most looking forward to, out of their 3 primetime games, I mean, really none of them, to be honest. I don't think the Giants really deserve to be on primetime. But I guess I will go with a Week 6 Sunday nighter against Cincinnati because that could be attractive for them. And then for the game I'm most looking forward to, that's not a primetime game. This is the game I'm most looking forward to, period.
Colts Giants?
It is the week after that at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley makes his return to MetLife Stadium for that game. As long as he doesn't get hurt, because we know he has injury issues, especially with playing on that field.
Absolutely true. My game, Bengals-Giants for primetime. Non-primetime, Giants at the Seahawks. In Lumen Field, it's a whole new ball game. When the Giants were at Seattle last time, it was 5-0 at the half. So this will be a great game to see. The Seahawks blew the Giants out when they were in MetLife Stadium. They own MetLife, to be honest. Only team that does so. So we will see how it plays out in that particular case. Let's go to Dallas. Jack, who are your top 2 picks?
Well, let's take a look here at the schedule. The Cowboys have 6 primetime games this year. 6. They have 3 Sunday nighters, 2 Monday nighters, and 1 Thursday nighter, plus a Thanksgiving game against the Giants.
That's right. I forgot to mention that.
The schedule most looking forward to. Well, they have a week. They open up on the road against the Cleveland Browns, and mainly I'm looking forward to that game just because that's gonna be Tom Brady's debut in the broadcast.
I could care less about Tom Brady. Number 1. Number 2,
says the guy who loves Fox is saying that. But I'm gonna go with Week 3 at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Is my favorite game. Week 3 versus the Baltimore Ravens, best Cowboys game, best primetime game. Let's go with their Week 14 Monday night. Week 14 Monday nighter against the Cincinnati Bengals in Dallas. Go ahead.
My 2 thoughts. Number 1, that's a boring matchup. Why the Browns? Why the Cowboys?
They both made the playoffs last year.
I don't care.
Okay.
Whole new team. The Cowboys stink. Tom Brady does not deserve to call that game, and that's a Week 1 game. That's going to be America's game of the week. Are you kidding me?
Eli's really hating.
My 2 picks. Ravens Cowboys, week number 3.
I said.
And week 11, Texans Cowboys Monday night.
I didn't pick that game because we already talked about the game, so I picked a different game just to be new. But that's okay.
The Washington Commanders have 2 primetime games this year on ABC and Prime Video. Jack, who are your picks?
Well, interesting schedule here for the Commanders. I think an interesting thing, Eli, is going to be whether Jaden Daniels opens the season as the starter for the Washington Commanders. I think he will. It's a tough schedule, though. They play 3 of their first 4 on the road. I think that's a pretty tough way to start. Pretty tough schedule for finishing in last place. As for the game I'm most looking forward to, you're going to be surprised, Eli. I'm going with a Week 4 matchup at the Arizona Cardinals because, to be honest, I think when I look at it,
I just highlighted the same game.
Oh my God. Because when you think, I just think that could be a really interesting game between, 2 young offenses, Marvin Harrison Jr. And Jaden Daniels. So 2 top 5 picks in the draft, 2 explosive quarterbacks, playmaking quarterbacks going up against each other. Could just be a game, just like a really fun game that a lot of people probably won't think about as a good game. But that is a game I'm most looking forward to. And out of their two, which is too many primetime games, I don't even know which one I'm looking forward to the most. We'll go with their Thursday nighter at the Philadelphia Eagles because Washington usually plays well in Philadelphia.
You copied me exactly, word for word.
I did not copy you.
Commanders, Eagles, number one. That's a great game. Commanders, Cardinals, they both stink, so it's gonna be a fantastic.
Why did you put the Commanders Cardinals? Why? I want to hear your thoughts. Why do you put
they both stink? I think that could end in the tie potentially. I mean, what else could you ask for? I mean, come on. Let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles, who have the game in Brazil and 4 primetime games.
5.
ESPN, NBC, and Prime Video. 4.
We don't have to mention the networks, Eli. We'll just say like 5 primetime games. If you're gonna mention,
don't count the Peacock.
Well, if you're gonna mention the networks, at least mention like the weeks that they're on, so people don't get confused.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good.
I won't mention anymore. There's 4 primetime games, not to mention the Brazil game.
Okay.
Who's your picks?
Well, looking at the schedule here, they play 3 divisional games in their final 3 weeks. I think that's a little interesting. I think it's interesting, Eli, that they. One of the reasons why I'm surprised that they chose this Brazil game for week 1 is because NFL teams usually get a bye week after their international game, and week 2 is too early to get a bye week, so they don't have a bye week coming back from all the way in freaking Brazil. But as the game I'm most looking forward to, I'm going to say week 8 on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
I think that could be a potential Super Bowl preview. I'm not even joking. That'll actually be the first time we're ever seeing Jalen Hurts against Joe Burrow, because when they played in 2020, Carson Wentz was still the Eagles starting quarterback in that game. And as for the primetime game that I am most looking forward to on the schedule, I am going to go with a Sunday nighter against the Los Angeles Rams in week 12, late November. I think that could be a really good game.
Copy me again.
Oh my God. Okay. Go ahead.
I had Eagles Rams, and the reason why, because the rest of the primetime games are pretty boring. At least that one's interesting. Eagles Ravens is my pick, week 13.
I was considering
the
that.
Philadelphia Eagles, who are a phenomenal team, versus the Baltimore Ravens. Plus, they're on CBS with the Jinx, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call.
Yeah, they do jinx a lot. That's very true.
So, in reality, that's going to be a fantastic game. 1 jinx is all it takes.
I will say, wait, I'm sorry, Eli. One more thing about the Eagles. An advantage they play 4 of their final 5 games at home. Lincoln Financial. That could be a really big advantage for them.
It could be. It potentially will be.
What division next, Eli?
We're heading to the NFC North with the Tampa Bay.
All right.
South. My apologies.
Okay. South. All right.
Yes. We're going to go to the Tampa Bay.
Quite warm in Tampa Bay to be in the NFC North, Eli.
Yeah, I know. South. It's in the South.
Yeah, you said North though first, but okay.
Whatever. My picks will go first this round. Buccaneers at the Lions, week 2.
Okay.
That's a good matchup. And week 9, Buccaneers at the Chiefs, Monday Night Football.
All right, well.
And the reason why I chose that game over the Ravens game is because the Chiefs game, the Buccaneers have more potential of winning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so looking at the Bucs schedule, they play 3 of their first 4 at home and also their final 2 at home. So they start and end the season with a bunch of home games. Schedule is relatively well. The middle of the season is brutal. They have a 4-week stretch where they play Baltimore, Atlanta, Kansas City, and San Francisco. That is just a brutal 4-game stretch for the Falcons. As for the game I'm most looking forward to, that's not a primetime game, I'm going to go with that Week 10 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers because that game is in Tampa Bay. The Bucs played well against the 49ers last year, and I think that could be a bit of a trap game for the 49ers, maybe a good win for the Bucs. And as for their primetime game I'm most looking forward to on their schedule, give me a Week 5 Thursday nighter against the Atlanta Falcons. That could be a big division matchup. It's only week 5, but it could
have a lot of playoff implication.
It could have a factor on who wins this division. It's going to be a close division. Week 5 Thursday nighter. Baker Mayfield versus Kirk Cousins is going to be a good game. Sign me up. And I like the Bucs this year. I think they're going to have another good season. 4 primetime games for
this
Tampa
next
Bay.
team is the only team that has no primetime games, but they do have that game in Germany. So only have 1 pick to make for here. My pick, Cardinals Panthers. You don't know who's going to win. It's in week 16. Anybody could win it.
Well, get ready to vomit, Eli. My favorite game for the Panthers this season is a Week 8 road matchup against the Denver Broncos. Why? Two of the worst teams in the NFL. This could potentially be the game that decides who picks number 1 overall in the draft. That's why I'm looking forward to it, just to see who wins the game. But yeah, the Panthers, interesting schedule. I mean, like oh my goodness, they play the Chiefs. They have a 4-game stretch where they play the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. They might get
double loss.
Well, they might actually lose, Eli, by they might actually get outscored 100 to 10 in those 4 games, honestly.
That's true. All right. Here are my next 2 picks for the New Orleans Saints who have 3 primetime games. For my primetime pick, I'm taking Week 5, Monday Night Football, Saints at the Chiefs. Okay. And the reason why is because you have the Broncos Saints, you can't even choose that one. And the Saints Packers, you can't choose it. The Chiefs are the clear winner here, which could have potential in this game. My other game that I'm picking, Week 18, Saints at the Buccaneers. Because if you remember, Week 18 had a lot of playoff implications on the line with the Buccaneers, the Saints, and the Falcons. So that is why Week 18 is going to be my game to watch out for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, sorry, Eli, to kind of disrupt the trend, but I simply refuse to pick any of these 3 primetime games because they are all such bad primetime games for the Saints.
You have to choose one.
Nope. Nope, not choosing one.
You have to choose something.
The only game I'm picking is the Week 6 home game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you have the road game against Tampa Bay. I have the home game because I just think it's a good midseason matchup. You know, they always play well, and we all know that Mike Evans is going to fight Marshawn Lattimore again. So that should be a fun game.
Check. Wow. That's all I could say is just wow. Let's go to Atlanta Falcons, who have 4 primetime games this year. My primetime pick will be Thursday Night Football, Buccaneers versus the Falcons in week number 5. For my game to look out for, Seahawks-Falcons, because they're both good teams, and Falcons could actually win that game. And the Seahawks could also win that game. So I feel like it's going to be a good matchup, and especially that Atlanta's home for that game.
All right, so Atlanta's schedule, interesting schedule. They play 4 of their first 5 at home. They have a 3-game home stretch from week 3 through week 5. They have a ton of divisional games early in the season, which is weird. Those usually happen at the end of the season.
Exactly.
So a little surprising there. I think week 1 is interesting. Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins. Bit of a veteran quarterbacks on new teams matchup. For the primetime game, I'm going to go with the Monday Nighter against the Eagles. Why am I picking that game? Because the Eagles are coming back from Brazil. They might be a little rusty. They might be a little exhausted from that game. So that's why I'm thinking the Falcons might be able to win that game. For the regular game, though, that I'm picking, surprise, Eli, give me a Week 14 matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. Why am I picking that game? Because that is going to be Kirk Cousins' first game back in Minnesota since leaving the Vikings.
Yeah, a comment from Arn Matestic. What week does Penix become the starter?
He will not be, unless Kirk Cousins get hurt, I do not say he becomes a starter this season. So
random guess. Let's see here. I'm going to go with See, the game he could potentially get hurt the most is week 3, so
you're
anytime after week 5. Anytime after week 5.
Well, I'm gonna say that the only way I think Michael Penix starts this year with Kirk Cousins not getting hurt, it would be at the very end of the season if the Falcons are eliminated. They're paying Kirk Cousins $180 million. You cannot pay him that much to sit on the bench for a whole season. For 1 or 2 games, whatever. But if Kirk Cousins does get benched, I would not expect it until very late in the season, like week 17 or week 18. We're talking if the Falcons are out of the playoffs by that point.
We head now over to the Minnesota Vikings, who have 2 primetime games and an international game in London. My picks for the primetime game, they have 2 horrible choices, but the only one that makes sense, Vikings at Rams Thursday Night Football in week 8. And for my regular pick, week 7, that's a regular non-primetime game. Week 7, Lions versus Vikings, because they're coming right off the bye. And after playing the Texans, 49ers, Packers, and Jets within 4 straight weeks, which is a difficult matchup to me, in my opinion. So to see them come off fresh out the bye, to play the Lions, that could be potentially a great game to watch.
For the Vikings, for their primetime game out of the 2, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you and say that it's gonna be. Actually, no. I'm going to go with the other game. I'm going to go with Vikings-Bears, Monday night of Week 15. Just because, again, it's a division. NFC North matchups are always great late in the season. Could be a pretty good game, honestly. And as for the regular game, I'm having a hard time picking one of these games.
It's tough.
Let's go with, you know what? Let's get the Colts in here. Week 9 for the Vikings at home, Indianapolis Colts. Just because I want to have the Colts in here. And the Colts, after blowing that 33-point lead, are going to want revenge in Minnesota. So that's the only reason why I'm picking that game.
Here are my 2 picks for the Packers, who have 3 primetime games, an international game in Brazil, plus a Thanksgiving game. Here are my 2 picks, and it may surprise you. Week 14, Thursday Night Football, Packers at the Lions.
I love it. I love it.
My last pick, it's going to surprise you out of tons of great matchups. Week 17, Packers at the Vikings. The reason why is Packers could be fighting for a wild card spot, and that game in particular could fight for that wild card spot, in my opinion.
The Packers
have a lot of implications.
The Packers have tended to struggle in Minnesota the last few years, so I like that pick. One thing is interesting, Eli. The Packers play 4 straight primetime games in a row. Week 13, 14, 15, and 16. They play 4 straight primetime games. 2 Thursday nighters, 1 Sunday nighter, 1 Monday nighter. And I'm counting the Thursday Thanksgiving as primetime because it's at 8:20 p.m. So technically, it is a primetime game.
That's true. That is a primetime game. Now to the Detroit.
Wait, no, I didn't take my games
sorry,
yet.
Go ahead. Pick your games.
Primetime game, I'm going to go with Week 15 at the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. Lumen Field is always rocking in December. Could be a tough environment for Jordan Love to go play in, but the Packers have been a team that love to win games on the road. They often struggle at home, so that's why I'm picking that game. And then for the regular game, give me a Week 5 matchup between the Packers and the LA Rams in Los Angeles. It's a CBS National 425 game. Jordan Love versus Matthew Stafford has a long history with the Packers, so give me that game for the Packers game I'm most looking forward to.
All righty. Next game on the list, the Detroit Lions. 5 primetime games and a Thanksgiving game. Here are my 2 picks, and it may surprise you. Week 10, Sunday Night Football, Lions at Texans. Why did I take that over the Seattle Seahawks versus the Lions? Reason why? Texans are more exciting to watch, and the Detroit Lions are 2 phenomenal teams. They're more exciting to watch than the Seahawks on Monday night. The Bills-Lions is my next game because Bills-Lions, Week 15, playoff implications on the line. Absolutely, it's a done deal for me.
Well, Eli, who would have thought that 2 years ago when the Texans and the Lions, or when the Lions and the Texans had the second and third worst records in the league respectively, that they would be getting a Sunday Night Football game against each other during the midpoint, pretty much during the middle of the season. That is the game I chose as well. Just two teams who are very likable, and I should be a good game on Sunday night at Week 10 in Houston, Texas. As for the Lions, regular game. Tough choice because pretty much all their best games are in prime time, but I will go with the Week 9 matchup at the Green Bay Packers. That is right before they have a lot of their primetime games. So give me the Week 9 matchup against the Green Bay Packers on the road, Detroit Lions.
I like it. Here's my pick for the Chicago Bears, who have 3 primetime games, an international game in London, and a Thanksgiving game. My primetime pick, Week 17, Seahawks at the Bears, Thursday Night Football. They have
all right.
That's my pick. I think that's the best.
That's what I chose too.
And Week 3, Bears at the Colts.
Yes, thank you,
because
Eli.
None of the matchups stand out to me, but it's the Colts and the Bears. It's early on. This could be somehow meaningful. Give me that game.
Let me just say, it's so weird how the Bears have 2 separate 3-game home stretches this season. They have 3 straight home games, and then they have 3 straight away games. Such a weird schedule. I also chose the Seattle Seahawks game, Eli, in Week 17, Thursday Night Football. Both teams might be fighting for a wild card spot by then, but we'll just have to see what happens. And then for the other game, I'm going to pick a Week 1 game here, Eli. Bears versus Titans in Week 1. I think Tennessee is getting overlooked in this season, and I think they can have some really good wins. I think Tennessee might win more games than we expect to. And with a young and inexperienced Caleb Williams, don't be surprised. I bet Chicago's going to be favored in that game. Don't be surprised if Tennessee pulls off an upset on the road in Week 1.
All right. Here's this next game. The Los Angeles Rams were 5 primetime games. To the west we go. My pick for the primetime, Eagles-Rams, Week 12, Sunday Night Football. Love the matchup. Love the Eagles. Love the Rams. Good matchup there. Sunday, November 8th. That's a regular Week 14 game. Give me the Bills-Rams. That could be a good game.
I was thinking about
picking early. That. It could be meaningful. Could be worth it. That's my pick.
All right, so for the Rams primetime game, and in a rare occurrence, I'm going to disagree here. I'm going to go with a matchup 2 weeks before the game you chose. Week 10, Monday Night Football, Rams versus Dolphins at SoFi Stadium. Again, the Dolphins, we know they tend to struggle a little bit, but this game is indoors, so they will be just fine. Could be a game of high-powered offenses, and ultimately a game of which quarterback makes fewer mistakes. I would probably go with Matthew Stafford, but we'll just have to see. The Rams play their final 2 games at home this season. I'll pick one of them. I'm going to go with Week 18 against the Seattle Seahawks. That game could determine one of the wild card teams because I think the 49ers are going to run away with the division. But the Rams and Seahawks might be battling all year for the second place in the division, and it ultimately could culminate in Week 18 in a winner-take-all game.
Absolutely. Here, let's go to Arizona Cardinals now, who have one primetime game on ESPN Plus. Chargers, Cardinals. Now to my pick. I don't know what to pick. The only game I had to pick, I think that would stand out the most, that could be one of the few wins that they could get, Cardinals versus Panthers, Week 16. That's
okay. Let me just say, I would not be surprised if the Cardinals won like 7 games this season. I think their schedule looks challenging, but they're a team that, if they get hot, I mean, look what happened last year. The Cardinals, they beat the Eagles, they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep. They had some good wins last year. So the Monday night game, that's really the only choice for primetime. But I'm actually going to go, Eli, with Week 10 against the New York Jets at home. The Cardinals have absolutely owned Aaron Rodgers throughout his career. This game is in Arizona. This could be a major trap game for the Jets. So give me the Jets at the Cardinals in Week 10 because I think Arizona's got a good chance to pull an upset in that game.
They absolutely, indeed, and could. To the San Francisco 49ers, we go. They have 6 primetime games. Out of all of them, what did I choose? Week 13, Sunday Night Football, 49ers at the Bills. Why did I choose that matchup? Can the 49ers take on the Bills cold? That is a question in New York. So that's my marquee game to watch. And it's colder at night. So that's my marquee game watch. Regular game, non-prime time, Week 16, 49ers at the Dolphins. They're in Miami. Miami's going to be fighting for a playoff spot. And you have the San Francisco 49ers, who could either have been clinched already or slowing down their pace. So it's going to be 49ers-Dolphins in that game.
Well, let me just say, Eli, the 49ers have a perfect balance of primetime games. They have 2 games on Thursday night, 2 games on Sunday night, and 2 games on Monday night. And funny, Eli, how the 49ers start and end the season on Monday Night Football, excluding Week 18, because there are no Monday Night Football games in Week 18. I'm going to go with the 49ers against the Bills as well. I'm going to agree with you there. 49ers at Bills, Week 13. Buffalo, it's in December, really cold weather. Could be a battle of 2 MVP quarterbacks in Brock Purdy and Josh Allen. Could be another game. Could be a Super Bowl preview. Could be a game with playoff implications, depending on how the season goes. And then for the regular game, I'm going to agree with you again and go with 49ers at Dolphins. That is a game I had circled on my calendar once the schedule came out. It is in sunny Miami. We know the Dolphins love to play at their place. So that could be a really good game and a big game for both teams. Kind of similar to what the Dolphins did last year against the Dallas Cowboys, where they shocked a lot of people and won that game in Miami.
All right, save the best for last. The Seattle Seahawks with 4 primetime games. And my pick, Week 4, Monday Night Football on ABC. Seahawks at the Lions. Out of all the games, they're all boring. Seahawks at the Lions, they're the clear marquee winner for me. And for the regular game, Week 8, Bills Seahawks. And the reason why, the Bills have to go to Seattle. Seattle energy is unlike any other stadium. It's not in Buffalo. It's not the cold. So can the Bills handle the Seattle weather and heat?
I like it, Eli. For your primetime game, I'm going to go with your Week 6 primetime game, which is a home game on Thursday night against the 49ers. It's at your place. It could be a trap game for the 49ers on a short week. So I think that could be a major trap game. I think that could be a game that Seattle absolutely wins at home, but we'll just have to see. As for the regular game, let's go with regular game for the Seattle Seahawks. So they play the final 2 games of the season on the road, Eli. That's not great for you. Seattle's definitely a team that likes to play at home more. I will go with the week after Buffalo at home against the Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks were humiliated by the Rams last year in Week 1, looking for some revenge at Lumen Field this season. Midseason matchup looks like a pretty good game, Eli. And that is it for the NFC.
That's fantastic. That was the NFC. That we had a lot covered tonight, Jack. It was awesome.
So many awesome primetime games. It's gonna be a great season. Like, we're so excited.
I cannot wait. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is the new kickoff rules. Other than that, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I don't like the ban of the hip drop tackle either, but to be honest, I don't think they're really gonna call it that much. I think it's gonna be similar to what it was before.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for joining us. Don't forget this Thursday, 7:00, the AFC games. We will break down the international games. The primetime, not more and more primetime, not international. We'll have it all broken down for you. Join us this Thursday. And we thank you for joining us right here on Surge Sports for the 12th Horseshoe podcast. We will see you on Thursday. From Jack Rizal, Elijah Weintraub.
Thank you, everyone.